QQube is an application which simplifies the process of creating custom reports and dashboards outside of QuickBooks. QQube extracts your QuickBooks data and transforms it into data models that you can plug into Excel, PowerPivot, Access, Power BI, Tableau, or even Crystal reports. QQube is one of the most popular and successful QuickBooks third-party applications ever created. The chief architect is an accounting professional who has long been considered by the Intuit community as the foremost expert on QuickBooks data extraction, and the chief engineer has authored the production of 2 of the top 5 most successful QuickBooks third-party applications. Currently, there are only 3 ways to get at your QuickBooks data, none of which are direct connections to the database. First, we have Intuit's Software Development Kit, which is used by all developers for reading and writing to QuickBooks. Then we have traditional ODBC connectors, which are nothing more than the SDK in a more recognizable form. And then there are 2 methods that belong to enterprise-only customers: custom reporting from 2006 and advanced reporting from 2014. The problem is they all require complicated data dictionaries, understanding tables, fields, and relationships, and weeks to months of reverse engineering. And of course, you can't aggregate multiple QuickBooks files. Additionally, the custom reporting features by Intuit require that you are logged into QuickBooks to use them. QQube is different. You load your data and start with one of our data model examples. You never ever start from scratch. If you're using Excel, you can use the free add-in to choose fields for your pivot table or dynamic range. Or if you're using Power BI, you can drag and drop available QQube fields, including over 5,700 additional Power BI DAX measures to make it easy for you. And of course, you can aggregate multiple QuickBooks files for any of the data models. This is the QQube configuration tool, which controls all of the parameters with regard to data extraction. This top section allows you to decide what QuickBooks file or multiple QuickBooks file you would like to load for aggregation. The second section contains all of the data models that we provide. We have over 35 of them, most of which contain line-level detail, each with hundreds of fields and calculations. They are complete and one does not depend upon another. We have customers and receivables, jobs, time and mileage, inventory and bill of materials, vendors and payables, all posting and non-posting payroll details, multiple forms of financial statements, including several specifically built for PowerPivot and Power BI, financial statements by class, profit and loss for 50 through 53 tax year, including week sequences such as 445 or 13 by 4, general ledger and accountant data models, including trial balance activity, general ledger detail, profit and loss detail, and cash position. We have a specialty audit trail data model that allows you to see the number of changes per transaction and the total amount of those changes. Version 10 has the ability to only load the last several years of data, which is helpful for those old and large QuickBooks files. You can also control the definition of today, so that formulas for current month or month to date reflect your current reporting needs. There is a schedule sync that is designed for server and multiple company implementations, and there is also a manual on-demand refresh option, so you can choose one or more QuickBooks files and one or more data models to get refreshed upon demand. Remember that QQube talks to QuickBooks, and your applications such as Excel or Power BI talks to QQube to refresh your data dynamically. Once the data has been successfully loaded, then you can just open up one of the examples and start there. In this case, we're going to use job cost detail using the Excel add-in. When you open up a spreadsheet, you can configure QQube to either automatically refresh or manually refresh or not refresh at all when it opens. In this case, we'll refresh all the data from QQube, and you'll see that it doesn't take very long at all. In this out-of-the-box starter spreadsheet, we actually have several examples. This first one, which we call all-in-one glance, is actually 5 or 6 QuickBooks reports that we just create within one report. For Cube, these are just columns. So, for instance, yes, we have the estimated versus actuals, which you get in QuickBooks, but we can add the remaining committed cost, or what we still owe on the job, or the payroll hours, how much we received against the job, maybe the value of the unbilled time. The Select Assistant shows all the fields available for a particular data model. So in this case, there's about 1,750 fields, everything you'd want, all the custom fields, etc. And once you've picked out what you want, in this case, I'm going to get the original committed cost amount. Once you've chosen the field, you take away the Select Assistant. Now you're just 100% Excel. There's nothing we're doing particularly. You could relabel this. Now let's go look at something like Power BI and see how this mirrors what we saw in the Excel add-in. We'll close this. And let's go to Microsoft Power BI, and then let's go look at the job cost detail that we have there. In this out-of-the-box Power BI starter file, we have several examples on different tabs, which can be used as is, modified according to your needs, or start from scratch. They are designed to show you some of the various elements that Cube and Power BI have to offer. Notice that the list of folders and fields is similar to the Excel add-in. Each data model example has several hundred additional measures and calculations using the Microsoft DAX language, as you see here. The purpose is to let you immediately create a dashboard without taking weeks to learn something new or pay handsomely for custom projects. Each file also contains a mobile example, as shown here, to give you an idea of what can be made available in the cloud. Microsoft provides these tools and abilities for you at little or no cost, so you can take advantage of the convenience of looking at your information on any device. Cube has several product options. The first option is a single user license that is implemented on a local desktop or laptop, independent of where the QuickBooks file resides. The second option is a multi-user license that is implemented either on a local network, remote desktop environment, or hosting provider. The multi-user implementation requires a user that is always logged in and available for Cube to talk to QuickBooks. We call this the dedicated sync server user. On a local network, that user is the admin console, with separate client installations on each connected workstation. For a remote desktop or hosted implementation, that user is labeled Cube Sync, with each user logging in under their own name to create reports and dashboards. Step-by-step documentation for these options are listed on the Clarify website under Support. One of the strengths of our technology is the ability to aggregate any QuickBooks data from multiple QuickBooks files, with no manual intervention needed for the data sync process. You can purchase the ability for a block of QuickBooks company files as opposed to paying a fee for each company. We encourage you to go to clarify.com and download the fully functional trial, which has no limitations. Discover what Cube has to offer you.